the beginning, there was nothing. No light, no shape, no sound, only a deep, endless void, wrapped in silent darkness. A world waiting for a word, and then a voice, a command that tore through the stillness of eternity. Let there be light. Light burst forward, pure, brilliant, unstoppable, chasing away the darkness, revealing the first outlines of a new reality. Day and night took their places like two great rulers, dividing time into rhythm and order. This was the first day. On the second day, the voice spoke again. The waters below trembled. A vast expanse stretched out between them. An open sky, wide and blue, arching like a protective dome over the forming world. A place for clouds to drift, for winds to wander, for life to someday breathe. Then came the third day. The waters under the sky gathered, pulling back, opening space for the dry ground to rise. Continents emerged, valleys sank, mountains pushed upward like the bones of the earth, and the dry land received its name, earth, the gathered waters, seas. But this newborn land was not left barren. At the voice's command, the soil awakened. Green shoots broke through the surface. Grass spread like a soft carpet. Bushes unfolded their leaves. Trees rose tall, each carrying its own seed, each ready to fill the world with forests, fruits, and fragrance. Creation was learning to breathe and to grow. On the fourth day, the heavens themselves came alive. Lights were set in the sky, one to rule the day with its blazing fire, the other to guard the night with its gentle glow. The sun and the moon took their posts, surrounded by a tapestry of stars. Time gained structure, seasons, days, years. The great celestial clock began to tick. Then came the fifth day, overflowing with life. Waters stirred first. Schools of fish darted like living silver through the depths. Great sea creatures surged upward, powerful and mysterious. Above, the air fluttered with wings. Small wings, swift wings, wings painted with colors no eye had ever seen before. Birds filled the sky with movement and sound, blessing the morning with their first songs. And then, the sixth day. The voice commanded the earth to bring forth creatures of every kind. And it did. From the plains thundered wild beasts. From the forests crept small hidden things. From the fields came herds that moved like flowing rivers of muscle and dust. The world was alive, truly alive, but creation was not yet complete. For the final act, the voice spoke with intention, with purpose, with intimacy. Let us make humankind in our image. So the first human was formed from the dust of the ground, shaped with care, animated with breath. Life entered nostrils, eyes opened to light, a soul awakened, a being crafted not merely to exist, but to think, to choose, to dream, to reflect the Creator's own essence. This human was placed in a home prepared with extraordinary beauty, a garden, lush, vibrant, overflowing with life, a sanctuary called Eden. There, every tree was pleasing to the sight and rich with fruit. Rivers flowed through the garden with crystalline clarity. One river became four, one winding through gold-laden lands, another crossing rich, aromatic regions, another marking distant borders, and the last flowing eastward into new territories. Water fed every root, every blossom, every corner of the living paradise. And in Eden's center stood two mysterious trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Symbols of promise, symbols of boundaries. The human tended the garden, walked its shaded paths, listened to the rustle of leaves stirred by the afternoon breeze. He knew harmony. He knew purpose. He knew the steady presence of the one who created him. Everything was good. Everything was complete. but something was missing. Not something, someone. The human stood in Eden, complete, yet incomplete, surrounded by beauty, yet longing without knowing why. And the Creator saw this, saw the solitude, saw the quiet ache. So the voice spoke again, not in thunder, not in lightning, but in intention. It is not good for the man to be alone. The human was guided into a deep, peaceful sleep, a sleep unlike any other, as if the whole garden held its breath, waiting for what would come next. From the human's side, the Creator drew a part of him, a piece taken not from the head to rule over him, not from the feet to be beneath him, but from the ribs, close to the heart, close to the breath, close to the life within him. And from that living piece, the Creator shaped another being, delicate, yet strong, distinct, yet equal, a reflection, a counterpart, a companion. When the man awoke, he saw her, and the world seemed to shift. Colors felt brighter, the wind felt warmer, the garden sounded fuller, as though creation itself rejoiced. He spoke with wonder, with recognition, with joy. This one, this is bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. The two stood together in Eden, unashamed, unafraid, whole. They walked beneath the canopy of trees, their steps in harmony, their voices mingling with the song of birds and the whisper of leaves in the evening breeze. Every path was theirs, every tree a gift, every sunrise a reminder of the one who made them. In the cool of the day, they heard the Creator's presence, gentle, near, comforting, as if Eden itself carried his footsteps. But even in this paradise, there was a boundary, one command, one line drawn with purpose. They could eat from every tree, from the rich, heavy branches of the fig, from the golden fruit glistening in morning light, from the cool shade of the pomegranate, from the tree of life itself. Every tree, except one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They were told, if you eat from it, you will surely die. Not as punishment, but as warning, as truth, as protection. And so the man and the woman lived in the garden, naked, fearless, unbroken. Their days flowed like the rivers that watered Eden. Their hearts were open, their trust complete. But not all was still in the garden. Not all was silent. Not all was content with harmony. Something watched. Something waited. Something measured the boundary and sought to bend it. A creature unlike the others, subtle, observant, twisted with ancient cunning. The serpent. It moved with quiet purpose, sliding through grass still wet with morning dew, eyes glinting with a plan older than the man or the woman, older even than Eden. The stage was set. The garden was calm, the air was warm, and temptation was ready to speak. The serpent watched the woman, quiet, still, calculating. It approached her, not with threat, but with familiarity, a voice woven with soft curiosity. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? The woman answered honestly, her voice steady, her trust unshaken. We may eat from the trees in the garden, but from the tree in the middle, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we must not eat, nor even touch it, or we will die. The serpent leaned closer, a whisper curling like smoke. You will not die. Its tone was smooth, slow, insistent. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. The words lingered, they echoed. They stirred something deep inside, a tension between obedience and desire. The woman looked at the tree, truly looked. The fruit glowed in the filtered sunlight, beautiful, tempting, full of promise. She felt the pull toward wisdom, toward possibility, toward something more. She reached out. Her fingers touched the fruit, Nothing happened, so she took it, and she ate. Then she turned to the man beside her, the one who stood silently, the one who should have spoken, should have guarded, should have remembered. She offered him the fruit, and he ate. For a moment the world stood still, as if creation held its breath again, but not with hope, with dread. Their eyes opened, and suddenly they saw. But the first thing they saw was not glory, not wisdom, not enlightenment. The first thing they saw was their own nakedness. Shame flooded them, a heavy, unfamiliar weight. They grabbed leaves, woke. The voice called out, not with anger but with sorrowful question. "Where are you?" The man stepped forward, fear gripping his words. "I heard you in the garden and I was afraid, because I was naked. So I hid." The Creator's voice carried both truth and grief. "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The man answered, not with honesty, but with blame. "The woman you gave me, she gave me the fruit, and I ate." Then the woman spoke, her voice torn between guilt and confusion. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Judgment fell, not as rage but as consequence. Choices had been made, and choices bear fruit. The serpent was cursed to crawl, to eat dust, to live in conflict with humanity for all generations. The woman was told her pain would multiply, in childbirth, in longing, in the complexity of love. The man was told the ground would resist him, thorns, thistles, sweat, struggle, and that one day he would return to the dust from which he was formed. Yet even in judgment, there was a promise whispered in the curse of the serpent, that one day a descendant of the woman would crush the serpent's head, though suffering would strike his heel. Hope sown in sorrow, light embedded in the shadow. Then the Creator did something unexpected. He made garments of animal skin and clothed the man and the woman, covering their shame himself. But Eden could no longer be their home. To eat from the tree of life now would trap them in their fallen state forever. So they were sent out, eastward, away from the garden, toward a world colder, heavier, unknown. At Eden's entrance, cherubim stood watch, and a flaming sword turned in every direction, guarding the way back to the tree of life. And humanity stepped into history, carrying both the weight of a broken choice and the distant echo of a coming redemption. The gate of Eden burned behind them. The flaming sword turned, its glow reflecting in their eyes as they stepped into a world that felt colder than they had ever known. Adam and Eve began their life outside the garden, a life of labor, of dust, of longing, and of hope. Time passed, seasons turned, and Eve conceived. She gave birth to her first son, and with breathless gratitude she said, "I have gotten a man with the help of the Lord." His name was Cain. Later she bore another son, gentle, observant, steady. His name was Abel. The two brothers grew. Their paths diverged. Cain worked the soil, turning the earth with his hands, shaping the land into furrows and rows. Abel tended flocks, guiding sheep across quiet hills, listening to the soft rhythm of hooves on the ground. In time, both brought an offering. Cain brought fruits of the soil, the harvest he had gathered, the work of his fields. Abel brought the firstborn of his flock, the best portions, pure and unblemished. And the Lord regarded Abel's offering with favor, a warmth, a yes, a sign of acceptance. But Cain's offering found no such favor, no warmth, no yes, only silence. Cain felt the weight of it. His face tightened, his heart burned. Jealousy grew like a shadow stretching across the morning. The Lord spoke to him, not with judgment but with warning, with care, with a chance to turn back. "Why are you angry? Why is your face fallen? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. The words hung in the air, a lifeline, a way out. But Cain did not take it. Instead, he spoke to Abel. "Come with me into the field." Abel went with him, trusting, unsuspecting. The field was quiet. Only the wind moved. Then Cain rose against his brother, and he struck him, and Abel fell. The earth drank the blood of the righteous man, the first death, the first grave. Silence poured over the field like a shroud. Then the voice of the Lord came again, a question as sharp as truth itself. "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain answered with defiance, with a lie, with a shield made of words. "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" But nothing is hidden. The Lord answered, "What have you done?" "The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Consequences followed, not out of cruelty, but out of justice. Cain was cursed from the very soil he worked. The ground that once yielded for him would resist him forever. He would become a wanderer, a fugitive on the earth, carrying the weight of what he had done. Cain trembled. "My punishment is more than I can bear. Whoever finds me will kill me." But the Lord, even in judgment, set a mark of protection upon him, a sign that vengeance would not claim him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord east of Eden into the land of Nod. There, life continued. He built a city. He had descendants. Generations rose from him, some skilled in music, some forging tools of bronze and iron, some living by the sword, their hearts hardened by the legacy of the first violence. Meanwhile, Adam and Eve grieved. One son dead, one son exiled, two lives torn apart by one choice. But grace was not finished. Eve conceived again. She bore another son. His name was Seth, appointed, given, a new beginning after sorrow. Through Seth, a new line began, a line that would walk with God, a line carrying the quiet hope of the promise spoken in Eden, that one day a descendant of the woman would crush the serpent's head. Humanity spread across the earth. Families grew, cities rose, and the story moved forward toward both darkness and redemption. Generations began to rise like waves upon the earth. Adam lived long, 930 years, enough years to see sons, grandsons, great-grandsons, the weaving of an entire human story. And then he died. The first man returned to the dust, but his lineage continued. Seth had a son named Enosh, and in his days something stirred, something sacred, something rising amid a world learning to forget. People began to call upon the name of the Lord. Generation followed generation. Men lived long, their lifetimes stretching across centuries, a tapestry of names, each carrying a spark of the promise. Among them walked Enoch, a quiet man, a faithful man. He lived in close fellowship with God, so close that one day he simply was not. For God took him. No death, no grave, only a life lifted into eternity. His son Methuselah lived longer than any other, centuries stacked upon centuries, a silent witness to the patience of God. And after many generations came Lamech. And Lamech fathered a son. He looked at the child, held him in weary hands, and spoke with a mix of hope and sorrow. "He will comfort us from the toil of our hands and the painful labor of the ground." They named him Noah. The world around Noah was changing, and not for the better. As humanity multiplied, so did violence. Cruelty spread across the land like a shadow swelling with every passing year. People grew powerful, but their hearts grew corrupt. Their thoughts twisted, their desires darkened. The earth filled with bloodshed, with arrogance, with defiance. And the Lord looked upon the world he had formed with such care, and saw that every intention of the human heart was bent toward evil, continually, relentlessly. Grief pierced him, not surprise, not weakness, but grief, a sorrow born from love. Then came words that shook the foundation of creation. I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, for I am grieved that I made them. Yet in that sea of darkness, one light remained. One man stood different. One heart remained open. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Noah walked with God, steady, faithful, uncorrupted. A righteous man in a generation that had forgotten righteousness. And the Lord spoke to him, revealing a plan as vast as the oceans and as final as the closing of a book. The end of all flesh has come before me. The earth is filled with violence because of them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. But the message did not end there, not with destruction, not with silence. Noah listened as the command continued, a command that would shape the future of the world. Build an ark, a vessel of survival, a sanctuary of wood, a shelter from the storm to come, with measurements precise, with purpose woven into every plank, every beam, every nail. Noah would obey, Noah would prepare, Noah would trust. Even though the skies were clear, even though the world mocked, even though judgment had not yet arrived. The countdown had begun, the storm was approaching, and salvation was being built, piece by piece, faith by faith, in the hands of a single obedient heart. The command was clear, the judgment certain, the mercy unmistakable. Noah stood before the vast, empty landscape, the land dry, the sky calm, the world unaware of what was coming, and he began to build. Day after day, year after year, Noah shaped the ark exactly as he was told. Gopher wood cut and carried, beams measured, boards fitted tightly, a structure rising in a world that had never seen rain like what was promised, a vessel towering over the plains, its shadow stretching across the earth like a warning no one would heed. People passed by. They laughed. They mocked. They whispered that Noah had lost his mind. But Noah kept building. He kept listening. He kept trusting. The ark grew enormous, 3 decks high, rooms within rooms, a door set in its side, a roof above it all to shield from the storm. Every strike of the hammer echoed with purpose. Every plank carried a prophecy. Every nail sealed a future. And when the ark was finally complete, the Lord spoke again. Go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Then came an unexpected command, one that revealed the heart of the Creator, who destroys, yet preserves, who judges, yet saves. Bring into the ark 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Birds of every kind, beasts of the field, cattle from the plains, creeping things from the earth, pairs upon pairs, called by instinct deeper than understanding, drawn to the ark by a pull older than creation itself. Across the hills they came, heavy footsteps, light wings, soft paws, claws scraping stone, horns catching the light of the fading sun. Noah watched as lions walked beside lambs, as wolves trotted near deer, as serpents slid silently along branches, each creature guided, each creature chosen. His sons helped them enter. His wife and daughters-in-law guided them to their places. The ark filled with movement, with sound, with the breath of creation gathered into one sanctuary. Then Noah entered with his wife, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. 8 lives, 8 souls, 8 flickers of hope for the world's future. The animals settled, the door stood open, the sky remained calm, so calm that the warnings seemed impossible. But Noah waited. He knew. He trusted. Then the moment came. The Lord himself closed the door. A silence followed, deep, heavy, final. And then the first drop fell. 1 drop, then another, then 1,000, then a curtain of water. The skies opened. The fountains of the deep burst upward. The earth groaned beneath the force of it. Waters rose across fields, streams swelled into rivers, rivers merged into wild, roaring floods. People ran toward high ground, but the waters climbed higher. They called out, but the storm drowned every voice. The ark lifted from the earth, slowly at first, then steadily, rising above the destruction as the world below vanished under waves. Mountains disappeared, valleys filled. The old world died beneath the waters, 40 days and 40 nights. The rain fell without pause. Inside the ark, the lamps flickered softly. The animals breathed in the stillness. Noah and his family listened to the relentless storm, trusting the one who had warned them, the one who had saved them. And the waters continued to rise, higher and higher, until only the ark remained, a lone vessel floating on a world of endless water, a cradle of life carrying the promise of a new beginning. The rain stopped, the storm quieted, but the world remained drowned beneath a vast, unbroken sea. For 150 days, the waters held their place, covering mountains, covering valleys, covering every memory of the world that had been. But God did not forget Noah. He did not forget the ark. He did not forget the promise of a future. A wind began to blow across the waters, a strong, steady breath that stirred the deep and pushed back the flood. Slowly, the waters began to fall. The fountains of the deep were sealed. The windows of the heavens closed, and the ark drifted, guided by unseen hands, until it came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. But even there, the world remained hidden beneath water. Hilltops still swallowed, earth still buried. Noah waited, patient, steady, listening. After 40 more days, he opened a window of the ark and sent out a raven. It flew back and forth, searching, circling, finding nowhere to land. Then Noah sent out a dove, gentle, hopeful, a symbol of peace before peace even existed. But the dove found no rest, no branch, no rock, no dry ground. So it returned to the ark, and Noah reached out his hand and brought it back inside. He waited 7 more days, 7 long, quiet days. Then he sent the dove again. This time the bird returned, but not alone. In its beak it carried a fresh olive leaf, a sign, a whisper, a promise. The waters were retreating. Land was rising again. Noah waited another 7 days and sent out the dove a 3rd time. And the dove did not return. The world was ready. The earth was reborn. Then God spoke to Noah, words like sunrise after a long night. Go out of the ark, you and your wife, your sons and their wives. Bring out every living creature with you so that they may multiply on the earth. Noah opened the door. Light flooded in. Real, warm, gold light, touching their faces for the first time in many months. They stepped onto dry ground. The animals followed, spreading in every direction, filling the silent world with life again. Paws, hooves, wings, breath. And the first thing Noah did was build an altar. He gathered stones, he shaped them, he arranged wood, and he offered a sacrifice to the Lord, an offering of gratitude, of humility, of worship. The aroma rose, and the Lord received it. He spoke words that would shape the future of humanity. Never again will I curse the ground because of human beings, even though the thoughts of their hearts are evil from youth. Never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. Seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, they would never cease. Then God blessed Noah and his sons. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth. Animals would fear people, humanity would hold authority over them, bloodshed would be judged, life would have sacred worth. And then came the covenant. A promise not built on human behavior, not based on merit, but born from the heart of God himself. I establish my covenant with you and with every living creature. Never again will a flood destroy all life. And to seal this eternal promise, God placed a sign in the sky, a sign never seen before, a bow of colors, arched across the heavens, glimmering in the parting clouds, a rainbow, a reminder, a signature of mercy drawn in light. When I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the sky, I will remember my covenant. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Noah stood with his family, looking at the sky, watching the rainbow glow against the fading storm, a bridge of color between judgment and grace, between past sorrow and future hope. And from the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the nations of the world would grow again. A new beginning, a new earth, a new chapter in the story of humanity. The world began again,